Hey, what's up guys? Tuki here, back again. I feel like it's been a while since I've started a video by saying that stereotypical intro, but we're back again with another episode of mine, yours, ours, we, the Ottawa Senators franchise mode series. Am I going to stay with that intro? Yes. Yes, I am. If not out of pure spite for how bad it was, but I want to prove a point. What's that point? I don't know. We're back again. 2024 season, just shy of trade deadline day. We find ourselves in third place in the Atlantic Division, of course, looking to repeat as Stanley Cup champions. And overall, things for the team are looking okay. There are a couple of weak points, as we would have expected. Of course, talking about the players that we moved on from, of course, forward-wise, Jost, White, and Stone, which was pretty much, again, a necessity. Even if we didn't add Denisenko, we still had Zimmerman from the draft. I mean, we were going to have to call up someone. And if Denisenko wasn't there, we probably would have just called up Kravtsov. Or really maybe held on to Jost or White. Changes had to be made. And overall, I'm alright with how this team is done. This is how we're going to shape up to begin this episode with Denisenko, Barzal, and Gusev as the top line. Heiskanen with Borgstrom and Zimmerman. Third line of Markstrom, Hayton, and Kotkaniemi is going to be back in the lineup. Of course, he's been perhaps the most disappointing player this season. He still has time to turn it around, but overall, he's not really going to live up to that potential of ever being like even an elite second liner. Like he's a middle six guy, unfortunately, and might be drifting a bit more closer to third line, which isn't what we wanted for him. But overall, I'm happy with the team. Defensively, some concerns over Thomas Chabot. He's kind of had an up and down year. We're going to reunite Dahlin and Carlson moving forward. And I imagine that changes to the lineup will be a constant thing up until the postseason. The one thing I haven't checked, actually, would be special teams. Power play, penalty kill, and what we're looking like in that regard. So let's take a look here, shall we? We're the sixth best team in the league. So goals for per game, we're at a 2.84, which is fifth highest in the league. Tampa is insane at a 3.23. Goals against, we're at a 2.36, which is just outside the bottom five. So sixth least goals against per game in the league. Only one team is below a 2, so Dallas's goaltending and defense is absolutely phenomenal. Our power play percentage is at 19.8, which is, of course, middle of the table. We're the last team there you see in the top half, so maybe some slight adjustments there. And our penalty kill is phenomenal. The league's best at 88.4%. So let's actually go take a quick look at the power play units and see what we could potentially change about that. Let's see if I can remember to hit the right trigger here. So Borgstrom, Barzal, Gusev, Dahlin, Carlson, Denisenko, Hayton, Zimmerman, Chabot, and Dobson. Now, obviously, our defensemen. I mean, granted, Chabot and Dobson, you'd actually think they'd be able to put up a slightly better point total than what they have. I was almost tempted to say maybe we put Heiskanen and Kotkaniemi onto the power play. And I think the big thing here, though, is just spreading the wealth a little bit, of course. So we're actually going to have Dahlin be the top defenseman. We'll have Carlson on the second pairing. Let's go... What do we want to do here? Yeah, let's go Dahlin, Dobson, Chabot, Carlson. And we'll split up Borgstrom, Barzal. So obviously Barzal and Gusev work incredibly well together. You know what? Hayton hasn't been bad. I think I'm going to take him out for Heiskanen, though. Heiskanen has a slightly better point total. So let's go Heiskanen, Borgstrom, Zimmerman. Easy for me to say. Denisenko, Barzal, Gusev. That works for me. We'll see how that set of combos happen to do for us as we continue onward. We're pretty much getting to where we need to be. I don't know. I'm not going to say I wasn't distracted. I looked over at the dog. I saw her staring out the window. I saw a cat pass on the sidewalk and walk across. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad. Just stop talking for a second, wait for her to bark, that way you can make the jump cut. Didn't happen. Great self-restraint from my doggo. Anyway, we are, of course, closing in on deadline day. I don't think we're going to make any changes. Draft pick-wise, it's not really a big deal. And any weaknesses that we have, I'm not really looking to address. I'm intrigued to see if we can kind of turn things around. So throughout the month of March, it's a busy month. We'll see what the seeding ends up being. Let's sim these next 2 games against Montreal and Buffalo before we get crazy into the simming of this episode. Let's go ahead and check out the SHL for 2 weeks, and we'll see what we have here. Deadline's almost upon us. Yeah. And Zimmerman was slightly roughed up heading into that Montreal game. That we won 4-1. We also beat Buffalo 3-1. Not too shabby. So with a month and a half to go, 36, 21, and 9. Of course, we had a few games at hand above some of the other teams in our division, so we have to make sure from here on out that we continue to pick up points, and we have started off this episode on a spectacular run to end February and starting into March. This has been great for us thus far. I don't think Belleville, by the way, at this rate will be making the postseason, so our focus will be 100% on the main team and our effort to repeat as Stanley Cup champions, which, you know, I hope we're not peaking too early because, oh my god, we are undefeated so far. Jinxing it, I know, but we're undefeated so far in this run, which is insane to me. Let's just keep going into April. This might even be the first round of the playoffs just because we're getting through this, and there it is, we lose to Detroit. Hell of a winning streak, hell of a point streak comes to an end. Oh my goodness. But we're looking pretty good here. I think we might end up going through the first round of the playoffs. Just, again, with the lack of controversy right now, the fact that we're just breezing through this and winning games, I don't really see a reason to have this be a shorter episode. So we lose in a shootout to Toronto. All right, well, there we go. We're starting to drop points a little bit here. Can we beat St. Louis? No, we cannot. And wow, actually, the season's ending about a week earlier than expected. We only have 3 games left. 45, 24, and 10. And Belleville with a little bit of a comeback, actually. Those 8 overtime losses, that might be enough to get them into the playoffs. Let's take a look here. As we are currently in second, that's pretty much locked up that we will finish top 2 in the Atlantic. The problem is the Tampa Bay Lightning, 3 points ahead. They have a game at hand. I don't think we're going to catch the Lightning, and it's looking like we're going to be playing either Boston or Buffalo in the first round. Toronto's also scraping by, trying to get a postseason appearance. Nikita Gusev, you absolute monster. Oh my god. Here's the thing, and I said this before. I wanted to sign Denisenko just in case Gusev started to kind of crash back down to reality. He would be the eventual replacement, with Gusev now being in his early 30s. That might not be how it plays out. And as a matter of fact, considering, Heiskanen's been okay, but with Kotkaniemi not exactly developing as I would have hoped, I think now Denisenko, if anything, becomes the Kotkaniemi replacement in the top 6 moving forward. So it still worked out in a way, but that's just another example of how plans seem to change. 3 games left. Let's not look at anything yet. Let's just sim through this. We pretty much need to win these final 3 games if we want to catch Tampa. So we'll lose here. Yep, we do. 4-2. Okay, so it's pretty much confirmed again that we're going to finish in second place in the division, which isn't terrible. I'd say it's a little bit surprising, but not terrible. Belleville should be making it as well, which is tremendous. And there you go. Tampa has clinched. They're 3 points above, same amount of games played. And from the looks of it, and actually, yeah, it's official, we're playing Buffalo. We will be playing the Buffalo Sabres in the first round, not even the next round, in the first round. 5 playoff teams from this division. Insanity. So let's go ahead and sim our final game of the regular season against Detroit. And from there, we'll, of course, take a look at some stats. And we'll focus on scouting, I guess, as well. Liga defense, 2 weeks, please. Thank you very much. 3-2 loss to Detroit to end the season. So not the best run of form in the final 2.5, 3 weeks or so. 46, 26, and 10 as defending champions. Belleville at 41, 33, and 8. I can't help but think that's going to be good enough for them to make the playoffs. And actually, let's take a look. They should. Indeed, they will. All right, Belleville's in. They're playing Utica in the first round, which, yeah, I feel like there's quite the history there in like all of my Eastern Conference-based franchise modes where we never do well against Utica. So there's that. But let's go ahead and take a look at this team. And then, of course, we'll be taking a look at Buffalo. Let's do this. We'll go through the first round matchup here in this episode. So Grigory Denisenko finishes with 22 goals and 39 assists. He's down from 82 points last year to 61 with us. So I'm not upset about a top 6 guy having 61 points. Of course, seeing guys like Borgstrom, they haven't always, been world beaters. It took them a little bit to get into that kind of groove there. So it's an all right season for Denisenko. I'm not really complaining. Speaking of all right seasons, Matt Barzal, 72 points. So down from the ridiculous 95 last year, where, of course, he was with Borgstrom and Gusev. 72 points, though, again, I'm not complaining. Those first-line guys, as close to 82 points, as close to a point-a-game player as you can be, I'm good with it. And knowing what Barzal did last year, it kind of balances out, so I'm good with that. And then, of course, there's Nikita Gusev, who, again, for the second time in 3 seasons, puts up over a point. Well, actually, for this first time, he put up over a point-a-game pace 2 years ago now. He was point-a-game player on the money. So 44 goals, 39 assists for him. What a season. Again, a plus 30, 308 shots taken. And actually for power play points, 31 points on the power play. Damn. So top line I'm happy with. Sami Heiskanen, in fairness, great season. 51 points, up from the 47 last year, a plus 24. Of course, only 3 of those points came on the power play. He didn't have a ton of power play time. So a great season for him. Henrik Borgstrom as well. Didn't quite hit the 90 that he hit before, but 65 points, bouncing back and forth between the top 2 lines. 36 goals, 21 power play points. Another strong season for him. Of course, our goal scoring wasn't exactly as ridiculous as it was last year, which is kind of surprising to me, just because, again, when you talk about like a proper team balance, the thought of, well, if you have a slightly weaker bottom 6, that the top 6 does even better, maybe not. But Zimmerman, in his rookie season, 52 points, can't complain. He might win the Calder. I'll have to take a look at the scoring. Markstrom, 16 goals, 17 assists, 33 points for a third liner. I'm good with that. Not great, but not, it's good, right? It's not, again, third liner, closer to 30, 40 points. It's good. It's good. I'm being too harsh. It's good. Speaking of good, Barrett Hayton, plus minus, not so much, but back-to-back 41-point seasons. I like what I see there. Kotkaniemi, though, not so much. 19 points. That is tremendously disappointing after the 29 points last year as a rookie. We'll be keeping our eye on him heading into the playoffs. And then Peyton Krebs, over 20 points for a fourth liner. I'm good with it, up from the 16 he had last year. Bernard Vauclair with 26 points, up from the 17 he had in the previous season. And Pascal Carl was also a little bit disappointing, from 23 points to 12. So Carl and Kotkaniemi, 2 guys that we definitely need to keep our eye on, and that we might have to make changes with. Rasmus Dahlin with 39 points. He was a plus 13. He put up 44 points last year, so a bit of a return to form. He's played 5 NHL seasons now and has only broken the 30-point mark twice. Almost hit 40 again this year. So I'm good with that. Erik Karlsson, 49 points. Of course, last year he was ridiculous, 43 points in 54 games. So his pace fell back a little bit, which is kind of just the general theme of this team. Ian Reagan, only 5 points in his rookie season. Played all 82 games. He was a plus 3 with Noah Dobson, who had 15 points, down from the 17 he had in the previous season. And then Thomas Chabot, he got the plus-minus figured out, sort of. From 33 points and a plus 26 to 17 and a minus 2. Unfortunate is how we'll label that. Kultanen with 5 points and a plus 4. The goaltender, Igor Shesterkin, 63 appearances, 33 wins, a 921 save percentage, a 231 GAA with 7 shutouts. Solid numbers. And Taylor Kadri as a backup was everything we could have hoped for in his rookie season. 23 appearances, 13 wins, and a 928 save percentage. Troy Marsh got to play a little bit, 2 points in 9 games. We might be seeing him in the playoffs. Ty Ronning had 3 points in 9 games. And Barry Jocelyn with the 1 point in 16 games. Thought he might be able to give Carl a little bit of competition. That wasn't really the case. I might still make some changes here. But for the moment, let's take a look around the league. And like I said, we will get to our first round matchup in this episode. Didn't want to do that, but Kravtsov led, wow, 76 points in 82 games. He's that type of guy. He's much like a Gusev, where if we were to put him at the NHL level, he might be able to make the jump and be a somewhat dominant player. Not entirely sure, though, as we finished with the third best record in the league. Not good enough, though, to, unfortunately, win the division title. Dallas with 109 points. We were one of 4 teams to break 100 points, so I'm happy about that. Goals for at a 2.96, second highest in the league, just behind Tampa. Goals against at a 2.32, second lowest in the league, behind Dallas. I mean, Dallas allowed significantly less goals, so you kind of see that we're still up there for sure. And then 21.3% on the power play. It got better, so that's good. We addressed that, and it ended up going better for us. Penalty kill at 85.9%, tied for the league's best with Anaheim. Although I would give it to Anaheim because they were shorthanded a lot more frequently. We actually took the fewest penalties in the league by a pretty ridiculous amount compared to Washington. So that pretty much does it, I guess. I mean, we know Belleville made it. I might take a look at their point total really quickly just as a bit of a recap, but let's see here. Yeah, so it was Kravtsov, Theodore, and Shane Bowers that absolutely led the way for them. And Kevin Tanev up to 79 in what was his second season in Belleville. Might have been his rookie year, actually. I don't quite remember. Still a pretty ridiculous feat for him, a .917 save percentage. Let's take a look around the league at what we are dealing with here. Ottinger, Vasilevsky. Actually, Ottinger flat out won the most games. Under 40 wins for the NHL's top goaltender, which is somewhat surprising. The rookie race, we have ourselves a Calder winner, Eddie Zimmerman. There's no way he's not winning that award. 52 points. Second highest was Timothy Barney with 43 on New Jersey. And I highly doubt that a Garrett Sparks or a Jorn Van Pottelberg, a Cedric York will be taking home that award. So that's solid. And in terms of point totals around the league, Casey Middlestat, now he started as a high top 6, ended up growing into a medium elite. Funny how that works. Also led the league in points by a significant margin, 96, 50 goals, 46 assists. Tolvanen put up 56 goals. Gusev was 4th around the league in points. Was he top 5 in goal scoring as well? He was 3rd behind Tolvanen and Middlestat. Only 3 players broke 40. 2 of them broke 50, which is, again, absolutely insane. Gusev didn't take a single penalty as well throughout the course of the season. That is absolutely insane. Face-off percentage, yeah. How about the hit leader? Noah Hannafin. Block shot leader was Gabriel Carlson. Subban was up there as well. And who was the fight king? Show me Jake Dotchin or not. Curtis McDermott. With that, I think our season recap is pretty much complete. Yeah, we're roughly 18, 19 minutes into this episode. Screw it. First round of the postseason against Buffalo. Funny enough, the team that we are, of course, starting up a new series with, one of the 2 new series to end the year. We will be playing the Sabres, and of course, we already know 2 of the players that they have, Eichel and Middlestat. And for the record, again, Belleville plays Utica in the first round. So one quick thing before we take a look at the Sabres, I am going to reward Bernard Vauclair with some slightly better ice time. Markstrom was better than Krebs. We'll have Markstrom, Hayton, Vauclair. And we'll have Krebs, Kotkaniemi, and Carl. Kotkaniemi and Krebs can actually both play center. We'll play Krebs in the middle. So, still, I mean, these line combos are quite solid. And as far as these pairings go, I think I want to spread the wealth a little bit again. Let's put Thomas Chabot back with Erik Karlsson, Dahlin Dobson. Actually, let's go Dahlin, Kaltonen, Reagan, Dobson. We'll see how that goes. I think that's how we're going to start off this postseason matchup. Let's take a look at the rest of this Buffalo squad, shall we? We're only listed as contenders, which is a little bit surprising to me, given, of course, that we are defending champions. Holy cow. Let's go with cow. So, in a way, I'm kind of wondering what the hell their weak point is and why they didn't do better. Jesus. Braden Point, Casey Middlestat, and Brady Tkachuk. Good Lord, man. That is a crazy top line. I mean, but they have 3 first-liners, though, and they're not playing them all on the first line. They're cheating. Artemi Panarin, Jack Eichel, and Evander Kane back on Buffalo. They make up the second line. Third line of Alex Nylander, Zach Sanford, and Brett Ritchie. Fourth line of Nick Baptiste, Melker Karlsson, and Michael Frolik. That is as generic and stereotypical of an EA-created team as I have ever seen. Defensively, it's also very well-rounded. Josh Manson with Rasmus Ristolainen. Dmitry Orlov, now at 32 years old, with Barry Ludwig, former 14th overall pick in the third pairing. Devontae Stevens with Jack Glover. The goaltender is Robin Lehner, 88 overall, with Ukko Pekka as the backup. Healthy scratches, no injuries, but Matt Benning and Arturi Lehkonen, the healthy scratches. Let's just get into the series, because this is always the type of team that we run into in the playoffs every single year. And are we stronger on paper in some aspects? Probably. But it is quite close. The goaltending matchup, they technically have the advantage. Defensively, I mean, we have, our two top pairing guys, Dahlin and Karlsson, are better than their top 2 rated guys, but they're also extremely well-rounded. And then forward-wise, Panarin, Panarin, Eichel, Middlestat. It's a pretty crazy team, and we could have ourselves quite a challenge here. This could easily be a Capitals 2012 style upset, although I'd say the Sabres team on paper, I mean, Jesus. Let's get down to business here. First period of Game 1, Round 1, and that is not the start we were looking for. Jack Eichel with the opening goal, 9 shots to 7 in their favor. Second period, Jack Eichel scores again with 12 seconds left. Right, 23 shots to 11. And we're in a tad bit of trouble here. That helps. Matt Barzal under 2 minutes into the period. We are on the board. And we really need a strong effort here from the rest of the way. And that will do it. Put a fork in them. They are well done. Middlestat. That'll be the winner. That'll be the... Well, it won't be the winner. I mean, it might be. We might get another goal here. That'll be enough to clinch this game for the Buffalo Sabres. We drop Game 1, 3-1 on home ice. Not exactly what we were looking to do to start this series off, I would say. I didn't even look at 3 stars. I don't really think we had to. Fairly obvious here. I have no idea. I don't even know if that'll be picking up on the mic, but there's like this slight rattling going on with something on my desk, and it's driving me absolutely insane. But that's okay. We will sim to Game 2. Belleville also lost their first game. Jack Eichel would have been the first star of that game. I feel like that's, again, fairly obvious. We'll jump into Game 2 without making any major changes. And it's weird. I don't know. It's kind of weird that we're already back in the playoffs already. There's not as much pressure because we already have our cup win. But it would certainly be an underperforming effort from this team if we were to lose. Let's hope that's not the case. First period of Game 2. Yeah, that's what I expected. I don't know what you were expecting. That's totally what I expected. 5 combined goals, totally expected. Okay, let's break this down, shall we? Sammy Heiskanen gets the opening goal. Tkachuk ties it just over a minute later, almost 2 minutes later. Erik Karlsson makes it 2-1. Dahlin makes it 3-1. Jack Eichel scores again. It's 3-2. 14 shots to 9. Good Lord. Second period. Frolik, and then with 9 seconds left, Baptiste, it's 4-3 Sabres as we enter the third period. And yes, I am now a tad bit concerned. Power play chance for Buffalo. They can't make the most of it. We need a goal here, or we are in trouble. Power play's wasted, and we are in trouble. We are in a lot of trouble. Risto with an empty netter. And the Buffalo Sabres come back by scoring 4 unanswered to take Game 2 by the score of 6-3. And, you know, that dream of back-to-back Stanley Cups isn't looking too good as we've been outscored 9-4 over the course of the first 2 games. I think we're going to take a look at our team here, because that is quite concerning. Let's take a look. So that top line's been completely ineffective. Second line's also been kind of bad. Third line's been okay. Vauclair hasn't done much. And the fourth line has been dead quiet. Right. What do we do here? What do we do here? Because there's also the issue of not really being able to call up or send anybody down. All right, Carl is going to sit for Jocelyn again, and Kotkaniemi is going to sit for Tyrone. That is the first step, I would say. From there, I think, what do we want to do from there? So Krebs, Vauclair, Jocelyn, I'm all right with that. Markstrom. Let's go Mark. I know he's our leading guy, our leading point getter here with 2, but Markstrom, Vauclair, Jocelyn, Krebs, Hayton, Ronning. The problem is we don't really have another center. Unless we go, and I'm willing to try to do this. Let's reunite the top line from last year. Let's go Denisenko, Hayton, Zimmerman, Heiskanen, Krebs, Ronning, just to mix it up. And defensively, that top pairing's been brutal. Everyone's been brutal, okay? Everyone's been a tad bit brutal so far. Let's go with, let's give Troy Marsh a chance. We'll put him with Kaltonen. Maybe. What if we go Dahlin, Dobson, Marsh, Carlson, Shabbat, Kaltonen? Just to try something different. Just to try and generate a little bit of a spark here. Particularly defensively. Again, what has it been? 9-4 over the course of the first 2 games? That's a little bit of a problem. Just a tad bit. And we are definitely not the same team that had John Carlson and Roman Josi leading the way. Although, of course, we do have Erik Karlsson and Rasmus Dahlin, so I was slightly more hopeful. So far, not so good, but we do have time to turn it around. If we lose here, though, we're in a lot of trouble. So let's do this first period of Game 3. 14 shots to 5. Middlestat and Sanford the goals. 2-0 Sabres. Second period is scoreless. Oh, boy. All right. You know, I'm not saying I'm having regrets. Thank you, Heiskanen, for scoring there. I'm not saying that I'm having regrets, right, over the thought of continuing this series rather than just ending it on a cup win, right? I'm definitely not saying that. Why would I ever say that? Can we please score here? Gee, we are down 3-0. You know my old tactic that I've been using for 3 years of just not paying attention to what's been happening and hoping that things go well, because when I do pay attention, the team intentionally breaks my heart. Well, here we are. Wow. The Buffalo Sabres with a statement as we are down 0-3 here in the first round after another very strong regular season. Damn. nothing we did there worked. And I am now beyond concerned. Right. What the hell do like? It's got to be the goaltending, right? Yeah, partly. All right. Have I simmed up to the next game? Because I think we're gonna go for Kadri here. Okay, we are at game 4. I almost don't know what to do because it feels like whatever I do, it's not really gonna matter anyway. Admittedly, I think we're pretty much done here. I think this series is over. We have seen crazy comebacks before, but something felt off about this team to begin with, and something obviously still feels off now. Certain underperforming players, just things not exactly going the way that we would have hoped. And those deficiencies here have really started to show themselves at this point. What's the Belleville situation as far as where they are in the postseason? Admittedly, I haven't even looked beyond the fact that they lost game 1. It is a 2-1 series. It's a 2-1 series. Okay. All right. Well, I don't want them to be eliminated because they might be our only hope for success here, but I need to try and spark something. So what if I send down those 3 and we call up at least Kravtsov and Theodore? And maybe Yuri Gonchar as well. You know what? I'm going to do that. Although Shane Bowers was great. I'm going to give Shane Bowers a chance. Let's make these major changes just to try and get something going. So the new 4th line, I think we're going to have Theodore. And yeah, we'll put... this is a tough one, actually. Let's put Bowers there. We might actually not need Bowers. You know what? Yeah, I think we'll take out Bowers. And we'll go... That's what I was going to do. I was going to send down Kotkaniemi, but he's already scratched. Let me go back to roster moves here. Is this just a case of me delaying the inevitable? Probably. Kotkaniemi, let me send you down just to try and help out that team. And I'll send Shane Bowers back, although we'd technically be under the cap. Can I just call up some random? Yeah, I can just call up Julkinen and he can sit there. So we're bolstering up Belleville while also trying to reward some players that were strong at certain points. As far as this team goes, the only thing I want to do is take out Clague for Butsayev. And yeah, I think, well, technically Peltonen. We got to take out Clayton as well for Tangradi. That works. Offensively, I'm good with that the way it is. And then in the AHL, or in the NHL, it'll be Vitaly Kravtsov that's going to get a chance. So we'll have Theodore. How do we want to do this? You know, putting Denisenko on the right might not be a bad idea. So like Gusev, Denisenko, Zimmerman, Theodore. And then this top 6, let's break up Barzal. You know what? I'm going to go Borgstrom, Gusev, because Barzal and Gusev really haven't had it going so far. Let's put Kravtsov on the top line. I'm going to give him a chance to shine. Barrett Hayton with Barzal and Denisenko, Heiskanen, Krebs, and Zimmerman. Let's go Heiskanen, Vauclair. And then we'll have Markstrom, Krebs, Theodore. Let's see how that works. I'm taking one hell of a risk here by setting up the team in that way, or by setting up the team in this way. And of course, the big thing is I'm going to turn to Taylor Kadri to see if he can get it going for us. I mean, consider this a Scott Darling situation. I think it was against Nashville, where Corey Crawford just didn't have it. Darling came in and was able to help win them the series. We may have just wasted some time delaying the inevitable, though. I admit that. We'll see. We will see. One game at a time will the defending Stanley Cup champions be swept by the Buffalo Sabres in the first round. First period of Game 4, Sanford gets the opening goal. They outshot us 12-11, so barely. second period, and it's Denisenko with the goal, 21 shots to 20 in their favor, tied at 1 apiece. It comes down to this third period. Do we have what it takes? Power play for Buffalo. We kill that off. Do we have what it takes here to at least win a game? Another power play for Buffalo, and it's Braden Point with the goal. Is that enough? Theodore ties it. Beautiful. One of the call-ups delivers. Are we destined for overtime? Casey Middlestat and the defending Stanley Cup champions have been swept in round 1. We are out. Just like that. Outscored. Oh my god. Outscored. They put up 14 goals on us in 4 games. Oh my god. They put up 14 goals on us. I mean, they doubled us up in goals. 14-7 over the course of 4 games. Belleville managed to win that last game, by the way. I guess we'll check out their game 5. They were down 0-2. Let's see if the Belleville Sens can at least move on. If not, yeah. First period, Salvador and Gonchar. Lowe was able to bring them back to within 1. Second period is scoreless. Third period, I'm just going to hit the button. And Utica wins it. Huh. Not exactly what I was expecting for this episode. Making the playoffs, sure. But to have both teams lose in round 1, and to have the Sens, the Maine Ottawa Senators, as defending Cup champions, be swept. I mean, that's just unfortunate. That is just unfortunate. And I suppose it raises the question, I mean, really, if you think about it here, right? If the goal was to continue for another season or 2, we can do that. We can. Obviously, the future of the goaltending, whether it be, I mean, really, it's going to be Kadri and Tanev. Like, here's the thing, right? I'm gonna set this up to basically tell you, like, hey, here's more than likely what's going to happen if we continue this. We might not, though. We did win our cup, and we just got embarrassed by Buffalo, the next team that we're supposed to control. Moving forward, though, with this series, it would be Kadri and Tanev more than likely as our goaltenders. I think we'd probably look to move on from Shesterkin sooner rather than later. And, of course, we do have other goaltenders coming up as well. We have a ton of goaltending depth, and I am excited, actually, to see how that will play out. Defensively, of course, what kind of development will we see from the bottom 3 here? Is it time to move on from Thomas Chabot? We didn't this season. Was that a mistake? In the system, Milroy is going to be signed, so somebody's going to have to go there anyway, and Chabot seems to be the obvious one. Nurmi as well, despite the low top 4 potential, at the very least, he's an AHL guy next season, so there's going to have to be changes defensively. And then forward-wise, of course, what changes do we look to make? You know, what's the future of a Kotkaniemi on this team? We have Polasek, who's going to be good to go. I forgot all about this guy. But, of course, he was our return from the Stone, White, and Jost trade. He would be good to go. He'd be ready to step in. Someone like Toms and Gonchar. We will be looking at quite a bit of turnover, admittedly. Which, you know, I'm not upset about in a way. But we are facing, and that's why I'm good to continue this, right? I mean, the uploads won't be every other day like I normally like them to be, just because of how much I'm looking to balance until we end this series and the USA series. We are facing a slight retooling, if not a little bit of a rebuild, with the amount of players that we're having to move out and now having to rely on the next generation of prospect to come up and replace them. So it's kind of an interesting spot where, you know, you look at where we took the Ottawa Senators, granted where we started this season, someone like Mike Hoffman was still on this team. But, you know, you look at where we started with this team. We rebuilt, we cheesed it at some points, I guess. Some people would consider it with RFA signings and whatever. But we rebuilt, we retooled, we won a Stanley Cup with Erik Karlsson, which was the goal, and now the team is looking to move in to the next phase where immediate cup contenders again, despite a strong season, apparently not. But we do still have some really good pieces and a really good foundation to this team. So, I don't know. I think I'll probably continue for another season or two. Or, who knows, maybe we call it here. I'm not entirely sure. Next episode, though, we'll find out. For now, all I know is that this one ends in a horrific disappointment as the Buffalo Sabres swept us. So, with that, we'll sim through the rest of the postseason regardless, I guess. Screw it. Well, let's just move forward. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, you know the deal. You know the deal as far as what to do video-wise in terms of supporting the channel and all that fun stuff. I tell you every damn episode. You should know this. Like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell and all the fun stuff. Leave a comment because metrics that'll probably... Actually, then again, I think that was a real thing that other, important YouTubers were talking about is like, well, if you watch videos and you interact with them, they're more likely to actually show up in your sub box, where if you don't and you're more of a sporadic watcher, YouTube just sometimes won't tell you when that person uploads. So that's neat, as Washington and Utica are champions. Yeah, YouTube's kind of shitty in that way. I mean, I'm just kidding, YouTube. I love you. Please don't terminate my channel again out of nowhere. Please don't. I enjoy what I do here. Yeah. So you know the deal as far as that goes. Keep an eye out on the channel, of course. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. We don't have any picks in the top 15, which isn't surprising. Keep an eye on the channel. Hockey stuff, of course, coming up, especially as we get closer to NHL 18. But maybe some other stuff. Maybe heading into the new year. I mean, we already brought MLB to the channel. Who knows what other sports titles might show up on the channel. Patrice Bergeron retired. That's a world I don't want to live in. And I think we're pretty much good to go with that. So thank you for watching. I wasn't sure what draft picks we had. I wanted to see if we had a top pick. We don't. Thank you for watching. I love you all. And one way or another with the series, I will see you next time.